How are you guys doing? Today is Wednesday, December 7th, 2022. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I am going to review yesterday's Elite matchups and performances from Tuesday, December 6th, and I am going to preview what's going on today as well as we navigate through the world of sports, one day at a time, one sport at a time. Taking a quick step back and looking at where we are, taking a look at what's going on in the World Cup, the round of 16 is now concluded, and we are now down to 8 teams. I will preview the quarterfinal round once we get there, as it is scheduled to be started on Friday, December 9th, with Croatia facing off against Brazil and the Netherlands facing off against Argentina. In college sports, after the Army-Navy game this weekend, bowl season will continue on December 16th. That's when the first ranked teams play their bowl games. Taking a look at what's going on with college basketball, there were a couple of college ranked teams that were able to pick up wins. At the professional level, there were some hockey and basketball games as well, some impressive performances in both sports. With that said, looking first at what's going on in the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Yesterday would be the last matchups of the round of 16, and at the beginning of yesterday there were 10 teams. Now there are 8 teams that are left competing for the trophy. The first matchup at 10 a.m. would be between Morocco and Spain. After Morocco would win Group F with 7 points, Morocco would win their group stage after initially drawing versus Croatia. They would beat Belgium 2-0 and beat Canada 2-1 to make it into this round. Looking at how Spain would make it here, they would finish with 4 points in their group. Their one win came in their first group stage matchup against Costa Rica, where they beat them 7-0. Their one draw came in their second match day, where they drew 1-1 with Germany. Their third match day would result in a 2-1 loss to Japan, and in this particular matchup versus Morocco, this matchup would end up as a 0-0 draw as it went through extra time and into penalties. Morocco would end up beating Spain on penalties after their goalie Yassine Bounou would end up saving all 3 of Spain's first 3 penalty kicks. And then it would be Achraf Hakimi, Morocco's elite right back who plays for PSG, to score their 3rd penalty kick and advance them to the quarterfinal round, after beating Spain 3-0 off of penalty kicks. They will face off against Portugal after Portugal was able to beat Switzerland yesterday afternoon at 2 o'clock. Portugal would go on and finish at the top of Group H with 6 points. Their first 2 group stage matchups would see them beat Ghana 3-2 and beat Uruguay 2-0. They would end up losing their last matchup to South Korea to make it here. Looking at how Switzerland would make it here, they would finish second in Group G with Brazil. After initially beating Cameroon 1-0, they would lose their second group stage matchup to Brazil 1-0 before beating Serbia 3-2 in their last group stage match, with their 2 first half goals coming from Xherdan Shaqiri and Brielle Mbolo. Their second half goal will come from Remo Freuler. In Switzerland's matchup versus Portugal, Portugal will go on and beat Switzerland 6-1 to advance to the next round, where they will face off against Morocco. Portugal's first goal would come from Gonçalo Ramos, their forward who would start over their goated forward Cristiano Ronaldo. Portugal's second goal would come from their defender Pepe, who of course is one of the greatest Portuguese players of all time, putting them up 2-0. They would go into the half up 2-0. The third goal was scored by Portugal's Gonçalo Ramos, his second of the game. After him, Rafael Guerreiro would make it 4-0 for Portugal. 3 minutes later, Manuel Akanji would score Switzerland's lone goal to make it 4-1 for the time being. Portugal's 5th goal would come in the 67th minute from Gonçalo Ramos, as he would complete his hat-trick, the lone hat-trick of the 2022 FIFA World Cup so far. And the 6th goal will come from Rafael Leao in the 92nd minute, as their striker from AC Milan would give them a 5-goal advantage to make it into the quarterfinal round. Going into the quarterfinal round, Portugal will face off against Morocco on Saturday, December 10th, as that will be the 10 a.m. game, the 3rd matchup of the round. So, of course, that is what's going on in the FIFA World Cup up until Friday, and I will preview the round once we get there. Taking a look at what would happen with college sports back here in the U.S., the highest ranked basketball team that played yesterday would be the top ranked Houston Cougars. They would host the unranked North Florida Ospreys, as Houston would remain undefeated. They would beat North Florida 76-42 on their home court. They would win this game by 34 after outscoring North Florida by 24 points in the first half and then by an additional 10 in the second half. On the winning end of this matchup, the top-ranked Cougars would be led in scoring by their forward off the bench, Javier Francis. Their sophomore out of New Orleans, Louisiana, would go on and finish with 14 points and 4 blocks in 20 minutes. He would shoot 7 for 9 from the field. Houston starting forward, Jarace Walker, would finish with 12 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 steals, all in 26 minutes. He shot 6 for 12 from the field. With this win, the top-ranked Houston Cougars are holding on to a 9-0 record as they still have yet to pick up their first loss. With this loss, the unranked North Florida Ospreys are 2-6 as they still have yet to pick up a win on the road this season. The highest-ranked team to lose would be the second-ranked Texas Longhorns. They would pick up their second loss of the season in the Jimmy V Classic as they would face off against 17th-ranked Illinois. In a game that would go to overtime, Illinois would beat second-ranked Texas 85-78. They would outscore Texas 17-10 in the overtime periods as a whole. On the losing end of this matchup, the second-ranked Texas Longhorns were led in scoring by their starting forward, Timmy Allen. He had 21 points, 7 rebounds, and 8 assists in 39 minutes. He would shoot 9 for 18 from the field and 2 for 3 from the free throw line. On the winning end of this matchup, the 17th-ranked Illinois Fighting Illini were led in scoring by their starting forward, Matthew Mayer. Their senior out of Austin, Texas, who transferred from Baylor, would finish with 21 points and 3 blocks in 28 minutes. He shot 8 for 10 from the field. He would make all 5 of his three-point attempts. With this win, the 17th-ranked Illinois Fighting Illini are 7-2 to start their season, and with this loss, second-ranked Texas is 6-1. Looking at the third-ranked team in the nation, the Virginia Cavaliers would host the unranked James Madison Dukes to try to remain undefeated. Virginia would beat James Madison 55-50. They won this game by 5 at home after outscoring the Dukes by 7 in the first half. On the winning end of this matchup, the third-ranked Cavaliers would be led in scoring by their starting guard, Kihei Clark. Their senior out of Woodland Hills, California, would finish with 18 points and 7 assists in 39 minutes. He shot 5 for 11 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3 as well. And with this win, the third-ranked Virginia Cavaliers are still undefeated at 8-0. And with this loss, unranked James Madison is 7-3 this year. Moving on to the 9th-ranked team in the nation, the Arkansas Razorbacks would host the unranked UNC Greensboro Spartans. Arkansas would win this game at home 65-58. They won by 7 after outscoring the Spartans by 12 in the second half after going into the half trailing by 5. On the winning end of this matchup, the 9th-ranked Razorbacks will be led in scoring by their starting guard, Nick Smith Jr. Their freshman from Jacksonville, Arkansas, would finish with 22 points in 39 minutes. He shot 6 for 14 from the field and 9 for 11 from the free throw line. Arkansas's starting forward, Makai Mitchell, would finish with 13 points and 14 rebounds, as well as 2 steals and 4 blocks in 32 minutes. Makai Mitchell would shoot 4 for 5 from the field, and he would shoot 5 for 7 from the free throw line. On the bench for Arkansas, their guard, Devontae Davis, would finish with 10 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 steals in 29 minutes. He shot 3 for 13 from the field, and he would shoot a perfect 4 for 4 from the free throw line. With this win, the 9th-ranked Arkansas Razorbacks are now holding on to a record of 8-1. And with this loss, the UNC Greensboro Spartans are now holding on to a record of 4-6 at this point in the college basketball year. Looking at the 12th-ranked team in the nation, the Baylor Bears would host the unranked Tarleton Texans. Baylor would beat Tarleton 80-57 at home. They won by 23 points after outscoring the Texans by 14 points in the second half. On the winning end of this matchup, the 12th-ranked Bears were led in scoring by their starting guard, Keontae George. Their freshman from Lewisville, Texas, would finish with 22 points, as well as 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and 6 turnovers in 36 minutes. Keontae George would shoot 6 for 15 from the field. He would go on and make all 7 of his free throws as well. Baylor starting guard Langston Love would finish with 20 points himself, as he had 6 rebounds and 2 steals in 35 minutes. He shot 7 for 15 from the field. He would make all 4 of his free throw attempts on the day. With this win, the Baylor Bears are now holding on to a 7-2 record as they remain undefeated at home. And with this loss, unranked Tarleton is holding on to a 5-4 record. Looking at the 13th ranked team in the nation, the Maryland Terrapins would go to Wisconsin to face off against the unranked Badgers. Wisconsin would pick up their first Big Ten win of the year after beating 13th ranked Maryland by 5 at home. They won it 64-59 after they outscored Maryland in both halves, just barely. On the losing end of this matchup, the 13th ranked Maryland Terrapins were led in scoring by their starting guard, Jahmir Young. He had 17 points and 2 steals in 30 minutes. He shot 6 for 13 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and he would shoot 2 for 3 from the free throw line. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown unranked Wisconsin Badgers were led in scoring by their starting guard, Chucky Hepburn. Their sophomore from Omaha, Nebraska would finish with 13 points in 36 minutes. He would shoot 4 for 8 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3. He would make all 3 of his free throw attempts on the night. With this win, the unranked Wisconsin Badgers are holding on to a 7-2 record as they are now officially 1-0 in the Big Ten. As of right now, they are tied for the best record in their conference alongside Purdue, Northwestern, and Rutgers. With this loss, Maryland, the 13th ranked team in the nation, is 8-1. They are 1-1 in the Big Ten. They are holding on to the 5th best record in conference play. They are the only team that's played 2 Big Ten games so far, just to give you a sense of where Maryland is in their schedule. Moving on now to the 15th ranked team in the nation, my Duke Blue Devils would host the unranked Iowa Hawkeyes. Duke would end up beating Iowa 74-62 in the Jimmy V Classic. Duke would win this game by 12 points after outscoring Iowa 37-31 in both halves by 6 points. On the winning end of this matchup, the 15th ranked Blue Devils were led in scoring by their starting guard, Jeremy Roach. Their junior from Leesburg, Virginia, would finish with 22 points in 37 minutes. He shot 8 for 18 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3. He would make all 3 of his free throw attempts on the night. Duke starting center Kyle Filipowski had 12 points and 10 rebounds in 25 minutes. He shot 5 for 15 from the field, and he would shoot 1 for 3 from the free throw line. With this win, the 15th ranked Duke Blue Devils are 9-2 to start their season, and with this loss, unranked Iowa is holding on to a 6-2 record. And last but not least, looking at the 24th ranked team in the nation, the TCU Horned Frogs would host the unranked Jackson State Tigers. TCU would pick up their 7th win in their first 8 games after they would beat Jackson State 78-51. They won this game by 27 points after outscoring the Tigers by 12 in the first half and then by 15 in the second. On the winning end of this matchup, the 24th ranked TCU Horned Frogs were led in scoring by their forward off the bench, Jacoby Coles. Their sophomore out of Denton, Texas, would finish with 21 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 blocks in 25 minutes. He shot 7 for 11 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3. He would make all 4 of his free throw attempts on the day. With this win, the 24th ranked TCU Horned Frogs are holding on to a 7-1 record to start their season. With this loss, unranked Jackson State is holding on to a 1-7 record as they have played all of their basketball games on the road. Taking a look at what's going on today amongst the rigged teams. The only top 4 team that will be playing today will be at 7 o'clock as undefeated Purdue is set to host unranked Hofstra in West Lafayette, Indiana. At 7 o'clock on SEC Network, 7th ranked Tennessee is set to host unranked Eastern Kentucky. At 8:30 on Big Ten Network, 14th ranked Indiana is set to host unranked Nebraska as Indiana is 0-1 in the Big Ten. And then last but not least, at 9 o'clock on ESPN2, 5th ranked UConn is getting ready to face off against unranked Florida in Gainesville. So, of course, that's all that I have for you there. Moving on to what's going on at the professional level in the NHL, I'll start off with what's going on in New Jersey. The New Jersey Devils would host the Chicago Blackhawks and shut the Blackhawks out, essentially. They would win this game 3-0 with all of their 3 goals being scored in the first 2 periods. The top star of this game would go to New Jersey's goalie Vitek Vanacek out of the Czech Republic. He would finish with 24 saves as he allowed no goals on the day. New Jersey's defender out of Ontario, Dougie Hamilton, would finish with a goal and 2 assists as he had the second star. New Jersey center Jack Hughes would finish with a couple of assists as he would finish with the third star of the game. With this win, the New Jersey Devils are holding on to a record of 21-4-1. As of right now, their 43 points through 26 games is the best record in the entire NHL right now. In the Metropolitan Division, they are sitting 9 points ahead of the second place Carolina Hurricanes. In the Eastern Conference, they are sitting 2 points ahead of the Atlantic Division leading Boston Bruins. And as of right now, they are currently sitting ahead of the Western Conference leading Vegas Golden Knights by 4 points. Right now, the Devils are on a 2-game winning streak, and they've now won 8 of their last 10 so far. With this loss, the Chicago Blackhawks are 7-14-4. Their 18 points through 25 games is the worst standing in the Central Division, as they are tied with the Arizona Coyotes. As of right now, only the Anaheim Ducks have a worse record in the West than the Blackhawks. In their division, the Blackhawks sit 15 points behind the Winnipeg Jets and the Dallas Stars, who are tied at the top of the division. As of right now, the Blackhawks are on a 2-game losing streak. They've lost 9 of their last 10 games to date. Jumping out to Ottawa, the Ottawa Senators would host the LA Kings. The Kings would beat the Ottawa Senators 5-2 after scoring 4 road goals in the very first period, taking full advantage of this game. The top star would be LA's left winger out of Sweden, Victor Arvidsson. He would finish with 2 goals. The second star would be LA's center, Anze Kopitar, out of Yugoslavia. He would go on and finish with a trio of assists. LA's left winger, Kevin Fiala, would finish with a goal and an assist to help the LA Kings finish with this win. With this road win in Ottawa, the LA Kings are holding on to a 14-10-4 NHL record. As of right now, their 32 points through 28 matches is the third best record in the Pacific Division. They are currently sitting 7 points behind the division-leading Vegas Golden Knights. They've won 4 of their last 10 games to date with this one. And with this loss, the Ottawa Senators are currently holding on to a record of 10-14-1. As of right now, their 21 points through 25 games is the worst standing in the Atlantic Division. Only the Columbus Blue Jackets have a worse record in the East than the Ottawa Senators. The Senators have now lost 5 of their last 10 games to date, as they sit 20 points behind the Atlantic Division leading Boston Bruins. Jumping out to Pittsburgh, the Penguins would host the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Penguins would end up beating the Blue Jackets 4-1 after the Blue Jackets scored the first goal of the game. The Penguins would take the outright lead in the second period 2 minutes in off of Sidney Crosby's 14th goal of the season and his first of 2 goals in the game. Sidney Crosby would finish with the top star, as he would go on and finish with 2 goals for the Penguins. The second star would be Pittsburgh's right winger, Brian Rust, as he had a goal and an assist to his name. With this win, the Pittsburgh Penguins are now holding on to an NHL record of 14-8-4. Their 32 points through 26 games is tied with the New York Islanders for the third best record in the Metropolitan Division. They are currently sitting 11 points behind the division-leading New Jersey Devils. The Penguins are currently on a 3-game winning streak. Right now, their 3-game winning streak is the longest active winning streak in the East. Right now, only the Minnesota Wild have a longer active winning streak in the NHL than the Penguins do. Alongside their 3-game winning streak, the Penguins have won 8 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Columbus Blue Jackets are 8-14-2. Their 18 points through 24 games is the worst record in the Eastern Conference. As of right now, only the Anaheim Ducks have a worse record than the Blue Jackets in the NHL. In their Metropolitan Division, the Blue Jackets are sitting 25 points behind the division-leading New Jersey Devils. And as of right now, the Blue Jackets have lost their last 2 games. They've now lost 6 of their last 10. Moving out to Tampa Bay, the Lightning would host the Detroit Red Wings. The Red Wings would end up beating the Lightning 4-2 after scoring 3 goals in the third period. The Lightning were not able to take the lead at all in this game, as the top star would go to Detroit's goalie out of Finland, Ville Husso. He would finish with 44 saves, as he did allow 2 goals on the day. With this win, the Detroit Red Wings are now carrying an NHL record of 13-7-5. As of right now, their 31 points through 25 games is tied with the Tampa Bay Lightning for the third best record in the Atlantic Division. The Red Wings are sitting 10 points behind the division-leading Boston Bruins. However, the Red Wings are on a 2-game winning streak, and they've won 6 of their last 10 to date. With this loss, the Tampa Bay Lightning are 15-9-1. They also have 31 points through 25 games, tying them with the Red Wings, sitting 10 points behind the division-leading Boston Bruins. The Lightning, the defending back-to-back Eastern Conference champs, have lost 3 of their last 10 games to date so far. Taking a look at what's going on in New York, the Islanders would host the St. Louis Blues. The Blues would beat the Islanders 7-4 after putting up 4 team goals in the third period after the Islanders would bring it to within 1. The top star of this game would be St. Louis's left winger out of Canada, Josh Leivo. He would finish with a goal and an assist. St. Louis's defender Justin Falk out of Minnesota would finish with 2 assists. The third star would be New York's defender Noah Dobson, as he would finish with a goal and an assist. With this road win in New York, the St. Louis Blues are holding on to a 12-14-0 record. They are the only team in the Central who still has yet to lose in overtime. Their 24 points in 26 games is the third worst record in their division, as they sit 9 points behind the Winnipeg Jets and the Dallas Stars, who are tied for the lead of the division. The Blues have won 4 of their last 10 games to date with this win. And with this loss, the New York Islanders are 16-11-0. Right now, their 32 points through 27 games is tied with the Pittsburgh Penguins for the third best record in the Metropolitan. So far, the Islanders are the only team in the East who have yet to lose in overtime. As with this loss, they have lost 5 of their last 10 to date. Taking a look now at what happened in Winnipeg, the Winnipeg Jets would jump right back into the Central Division lead after beating the Florida Panthers 5-2. The Jets would score 4 goals in the first 2 periods by scoring a goal each. They would take the outright lead in the first period, breaking the 1-1 tie off of Kyle Connor's 9th goal of the season before scoring 2 unanswered in the second. The top star of this game would go to Winnipeg's center, Mark Scheifele, out of Ontario. He would finish with 2 goals on the day. Winnipeg's left winger, Kyle Connor, out of Michigan, would finish with 2 goals and an assist himself. Winnipeg's left winger, Pierre-Luc Dubois, would finish with a trio of assists. With this win, the Winnipeg Jets are 16-7-1. Their 33 points through 24 games ties them with the Dallas Stars for the best record in the Central Division. However, they still sit 6 points behind the Western Conference leading Vegas Golden Knights for the time being. With this win, they are sitting 5 points ahead of the third place Minnesota Wild. The Jets are on a 2-game winning streak, as they have now won 7 of their last 10 to date. With this loss, the Florida Panthers are 12-10-4. As of right now, the Panthers' 28 points through 26 games ties them with the Montreal Canadiens for the third worst record in the Atlantic Division. Right now, the Panthers are sitting 13 points behind the division-leading Boston Bruins, and the Panthers have lost 7 of their last 10 games to date. Jumping out to Dallas, the Dallas Stars would host the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Maple Leafs would shut the Dallas Stars out. It might as well have been Toronto. Toronto would go on and score 2 goals in the first to really put this game out of reach. The top star would be Toronto's goalie out of Ontario, Matt Murray. In addition to allowing no goals from Dallas, he would finish with 44 saves on the night. Toronto's center out of California, Austin Matthews, would be the second star, as he had a goal and an assist. With this road win in Dallas, the Toronto Maple Leafs are holding on to a 16-5-6 record. Their 38 points through 27 games is the second best record in the Atlantic Division. They currently trail the division-leading Boston Bruins by 3 points, even though the Leafs have played 3 more games than the Bruins right now. The Maple Leafs have won 7 of their last 10 to date, and with this loss, the Dallas Stars are 14-7-5. Their 33 points through 26 games ties them with the Winnipeg Jets for the best record in the Central, even though they've played 2 more games than the Jets at this point. Right now, they're on a 2-game losing streak, and the Stars have lost 5 of their last 10 games to date. Looking at what would happen in Anaheim, the Anaheim Ducks, who went in holding the worst record in hockey, would host the Carolina Hurricanes and end up winning the game in overtime. No teams would score in the third period. However, it would be the Hurricanes that forced overtime with Jordan Staal's 6th goal of the year, but it would be Ryan Strom's 7th goal of the year in overtime to give the Anaheim Ducks a much-needed win, their 7th of the season. In this matchup, the top star would be Anaheim center Ryan Strome, who would finish with the game-winning goal. As with this overtime win, the Anaheim Ducks are now holding on to an NHL record of 7-17-3. Their 17 points through 27 match days is the worst overall record in the NHL. They are tied with the Coyotes and the Blackhawks with the least amount of wins in the NHL with 7. However, they are currently sitting 22 points behind the division-leading Vegas Golden Knights. The Ducks have won 2 of their last 10 games to date. And with this overtime loss, the Carolina Hurricanes are 14-6-6. With 6 overtime losses, they are holding on to the most overtime losses in the entire NHL. The Carolina Hurricanes' 34 points in 26 games is the second best record in the Metropolitan Division. They sit 9 points behind the division-leading New Jersey Devils. And with this loss, the Hurricanes have lost 6 of their last 10 games. 5 of those 6 losses would come in overtime or later. Jumping out to Seattle, the Kraken would host the Montreal Canadiens. The Canadiens would end up beating the Kraken 4-2, with 3 of their goals coming in the second period. To break the 1-1 tie, Montreal would get the go-ahead goal from Cole Caulfield, his 15th goal of the season. Cole Caulfield, Montreal's right winger out of Wisconsin, would be the top star of the game. And then with this road win in Seattle, the Montreal Canadiens are holding on to a 13-11-2 record. As of right now, their 28 points through 26 games is the 3rd worst record in the Atlantic Division. They sit 13 points behind the division-leading Boston Bruins, as they've won 5 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Seattle Kraken are 15-7-3. Their 33 points through 25 games is the second best record in the Pacific Division. Right now, they sit 6 points behind the division-leading Vegas Golden Knights. The Kraken are currently on a 2-game losing streak, and they've lost 3 of their last 10 games to date. Taking a look at what's going on today in the NHL, the primetime games will be on TNT. First at 7:30, the 8-14-2 Columbus Blue Jackets, who hold the worst record in the East, are set to host the Buffalo Sabres, who are 11-13-1, holding the second worst record in the Atlantic Division. After that, at 10 p.m., the Western Conference leading Vegas Golden Knights are set to host the 12-10-5 New York Rangers, who are holding on to the 4th worst record in the Metropolitan Division as things stand, sitting 14 points behind the division-leading Devils. Outside of the primetime games, at 7 o'clock, the Philadelphia Flyers are set to host the Washington Capitals. At 8 o'clock, the Calgary Flames are set to host the Minnesota Wild. At 9 o'clock, the defending champs Colorado Avalanche are set to host the Atlantic Division leading Boston Bruins, who are currently sitting at 20 wins. At 9:30, the Edmonton Oilers are set to host the Arizona Coyotes. And then at 10:30, the San Jose Sharks are set to host the Vancouver Canucks. With that said, I will transition to the NBA, as there were 3 games yesterday, 2 of which on prime time. The first game would be in Cleveland, as LeBron would go home and face off against the team that drafted him. The Cleveland Cavaliers would end up beating the Lakers at home 116-102. They won this game by 14 after they had to outscore the Lakers by 12 in the 4th quarter to expand their lead. On the losing end of this matchup, the visiting LA Lakers were led in scoring by the NBA's active leading scorer, LeBron James. LeBron James would finish with 21 points, 17 rebounds, and 4 assists in 36 minutes. The 4-time NBA Finals MVP would finish with shoot 8 for 17 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3, and he would shoot 3 for 4 from the free throw line. Off the bench, their goated point guard Russell Westbrook would finish with 16 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 blocks in 26 minutes. Russell Westbrook would shoot 6 for 13 from the field and 4 for 5 from the free throw line. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Cleveland Cavaliers would be led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard out of Louisville, Donovan Mitchell. Mitchell finished with 43 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 steals in 40 minutes. He shot 17 for 27 from the field, 4 for 8 from 3. He would make all 5 of his free throw attempts on the night. Cleveland starting center Jared Allen had 24 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 steals in 38 minutes. He shot 11 for 14 from the field and 2 for 4 from the free throw line. Cleveland starting point guard and former All-Star Darius Garland had 21 points and 11 assists in 38 minutes. He shot 8 for 18 from the field as he made all 4 of his free throws. With this win, the hometown Cleveland Cavaliers are holding on to a 16-9 record. They are currently one of 3 teams in the Eastern Conference and one of 7 teams in the NBA that still have a single-digit amount of losses. Right now, the Cavs are sitting 4 games behind the Eastern Conference leading Boston Celtics, and as of right now, the Cavs have won 7 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the LA Lakers are 10-13. That is the 3rd worst record in the Western Conference. They are sitting 5.5 games behind the Western Conference leading Phoenix Suns, as the Lakers have only lost 3 of their last 10 games to date. Moving out to Miami and South Beach, the Miami Heat would host the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons would end up beating the Heat by 20 in Miami after they outscored the Heat by 8 in the third quarter and by 15 in the fourth to outscore them by 23 in the second half after they were going into the half trailing by 3. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Miami Heat would be led in scoring by their starting shooting guard, Tyler Hero, out of Kentucky. He finished with 34 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists in 37 minutes. He shot 12 for 17 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3. He would make all 8 of his free throw attempts on the night. Miami starting center Bam Adebayo finished with 21 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 turnovers in 34 minutes. He would shoot 9 for 16 from the field on the day, and on the winning end of this matchup, the visiting Detroit Pistons would be led in scoring by their starting small forward Bojan Bogdanovic. He would go on and finish with 31 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals in 30 minutes. He would shoot 12 for 16 from the field and 7 for 9 from 3. Detroit starting center Isaiah Stewart would finish with 11 points and 11 rebounds in 28 minutes. He shot 5 for 9 from the field on the day. With this win, the Detroit Pistons are holding on to a 7-19 record. That is the 2nd worst record in the Eastern Conference, as they sit 13.5 games behind the Eastern Conference leading Boston Celtics. As of right now, the Pistons have won 4 of their last 10 games. So far, the only team in the NBA or in the Eastern Conference with a worse record than them is the Orlando Magic. With this loss, the Miami Heat are 11-14. That is the 5th worst record in the Eastern Conference, as they sit 9 games behind the Eastern Conference leading Boston Celtics. As of right now, the Heat are on a 2-game losing streak, and they've lost 6 of their last 10 games to date. Last but not least, going up to Mile High City, the Denver Nuggets would host the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks would go on and beat the Nuggets in Denver 116-115. They would win this game by 1 off, of course, the last shot of the game, as the game-winning shot for Dallas would be made by Dorian Finney-Smith when they were trailing by 1. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Denver Nuggets were led in scoring by their starting power forward, Aaron Gordon, out of Arizona. He had 27 points and 8 rebounds in 32 minutes. He shot 10 for 13 from the field. He would make both of his 3-point attempts, and he would shoot 5 for 7 from the free throw line. Denver's point guard off the bench, Bones Highland, had 20 points, 5 assists, and 2 steals, all in 30 minutes. He shot 7 for 15 from the field, 5 for 10 from 3, and he would make his only free throw attempt. Denver's elite starting center and reigning back-to-back NBA MVP Nikola Jokic would finish with 19 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists in 34 minutes. He shot 7 for 13 from the field and 5 for 6 from the free throw line. On the winning end of this matchup, the Dallas Mavericks on the road were led in scoring by their starting small forward, Tim Hardaway Jr. He had 29 points and 3 steals in 31 minutes. He would go on and shoot 7 for 12 from the field, 6 for 8 from 3, and he would shoot 9 for 12 from the free throw line. Their elite starting shooting guard out of Slovenia, Luka Doncic, would finish with 22 points, 10 rebounds, and 12 assists as he had 5 turnovers in 37 minutes. Luka would shoot 5 for 17 from the field, 4 for 9 from 3, and 8 for 9 from the free throw line. With this win, the Dallas Mavericks are 13-11. They are tied with the Portland Trail Blazers for the 7th best record in the West. They currently sit 3 games behind the Phoenix Suns. Right now, the Mavericks are on a 3-game winning streak. Only the New Orleans Pelicans have a longer active winning streak in the Western Conference. Alongside their 3-game winning streak, the Mavericks have won 5 of their last 10 games to date. And with this loss, the Denver Nuggets are holding on to a 14-10 record. That is the 5th best record in the West, as they now sit 2 games behind the Western Conference leading Suns. The Nuggets are holding on to a 3-game losing streak right now. Only the San Antonio Spurs have a longer active losing streak in the West. With this loss, the Nuggets have lost 5 of their last 10 games. Of course, transitioning into what's going on today. Today is Wednesday, and the primetime games will be on ESPN. At 7:30, the 11-13 New York Knicks are set to host the 13-11 Atlanta Hawks. The Knicks are holding on to the 9th best record in the East, as the Atlanta Hawks are tied for the 4th best in the East. The other game on prime time will be at 10 o'clock on ESPN, as the Western Conference leading Phoenix Suns are set to host the Eastern Conference leading Boston Celtics. Right now, 4 wins separates these two teams, as this could very possibly be an NBA Finals matchup. Outside of the primetime games, at 7 o'clock, the Orlando Magic, who hold the worst record in the NBA, are set to host the LA Clippers. At 7:30, the Brooklyn Nets are set to host the Charlotte Hornets. At 7:30, the Toronto Raptors are going to host the LA Lakers. At 8 o'clock, the Chicago Bulls are set to host the Washington Wizards. At 8 o'clock, the Memphis Grizzlies are going to host the OKC Thunder. At 8 o'clock, the Bucks are going to host the Sacramento Kings, and the Timberwolves are going to host the Pacers. At the same time, the Pelicans, who hold the longest active winning streak in the NBA, look to extend it to 5 as they host the Pistons. At 9 o'clock, the Utah Jazz are set to host the defending champs, the Golden State Warriors. So that's all that I have for you for today. And with that said, I want to thank the ESPN, the FIFA, the NCAA, NFL, NHL, and NBA sites for giving me all the stats and figures that I would need in order to do this episode. And I do want to thank everyone for really following along, as these episodes are getting more smooth day by day. I do apologize for the names that I butchered, and I do plan on getting better with them. But with that said, I want to thank everyone for listening to this piece. I hope all is well, and I'll catch you with more tomorrow. Thanks for listening. I hope all is well. I'm James Sims, and this is The Elite. Today is Wednesday, December 7th, 2022. Until next time, peace out.